More violence at Moomba again. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, and welcome to this evening episode of Heiser Says. I thought I'd talk about violence that's happened at the Moomba Festival in Melbourne for the third year in a row. And I was really surprised when Andrews, the Premier of Victoria, won the last election, just with the amount of crime that is in the media all the time. And let's read through this article. It has been billed as a family-friendly celebration, but this year's installment of the Moomba Festival proved to be a violent-fueled event as multiple brawls broke out in the streets of Melbourne CBD. Police predicted the violent behaviour, funny that, warning the public of a large-scale police presence across the city to ensure the four-day celebration remained under control. But it wasn't enough to prevent three massive fights, with one captured on camera by the Herald Sun. Now, I understand, I found out about this online, that showed the images that weren't blurred. It's between gangs, about 100 Africans and 100 Islanders. There were a group of them on Flinders Street Station and a group on Fed Square. They kept running into each other, and apparently the Islanders won a lot of the fights. But the person watching it said there was a lot of pretty girls on both sides, so that could be a reason to explain why the blokes are demonstrating their prowess. According to the reports, the tension between ethnic gangs saw a brawl break out outside St. Paul's Cathedral, marring the festival's otherwise amicable celebrations. In the footage, a shirtless man can be seen throwing punches and is surrounded by a large group of hoodie-wearing youths. Hundreds of police were deployed to the scene, with one threatening a troublesome youth. Last chance, she goes home or she goes to jail. You don't really... You got to feel sorry for the cops having to deal with this BS, to be honest. Police had to intervene, arresting 3 people for assault and 2 more for drunken behavior, despite the authorities flooding the city on horses, bikes, boats, and helicopters. Authorities responded to 2 more, so it's 3 brawls at Fed Square and Flinders Street Station between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., where capsicum spray was deployed twice to break up the fights. 2 more penalty notices were issued, one for riotous behavior and one for weapons offences. What is going on in Melbourne? What is going on here? Why are people claiming there is no gang problem? There is no gang problem when you got groups of ethnic gangs fighting in the middle of the city. And this is the 3rd year in a row. You know, just have a look at the gang violence I mapped on my freedom map. And I'll add this to it. But it's just another dot on the same spot a year later. Bloody hell. Oh, look, notice how the white guy, they don't blur his face, but they're blurring all the others. Maybe it's just the quality of the image. Probably is. Victorian Police spokesman Alex Day said the 3 balls appear to involve the same 2 groups of youths. It's understood on each occasion 2 groups of youths began fighting before both public order response teams and uniformed police immediately intervened. Police believe the 3 fights are linked. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Before the event began on Friday, Victorian Police Commander Tim Hansen had issued a warning to the public there would be a strong, dedicated police presence throughout the city over the course of the weekend. If there are those of you that want to come into Moomba and want to cause trouble and cause harm to those families that come down to celebrate Melbourne, we will be here in force waiting for you. Well, you know, this is now part of Melbourne. This is the joy of bringing multiple cultures together. You know, bringing the Islander culture and African culture together in the melting pot that is multicultural Australia, and allowing them to fight. Really, I wonder if a lot of these young guys have just got nothing better to do. Maybe they should. I was at the Muay Thai yesterday. Maybe they should be doing that. Maybe they should be fighting properly in the ring. That might sort some of this out. We've cleared out the cells, so if we need to, we will arrest you and accommodate you for the night. There you go, capsicum spray on everyone. People watching. The increased police presence around the Moomba festivals follows the notorious riots that plagued the event in 2016. The Moomba riots are believed to be linked to the Apex gang, which saw 150 youths stealing phones, taunting police, and terrorizing the public. More than 30 teens were arrested and parts of the city were shut down. This is Melbourne. Melbourne. Okay? So we need to build that wall along the Murray, the New South Wales side, so you can stop them from climbing up, or build it in the middle. Police officers responded after receiving intelligence that about 80 to 100 troublemakers were headed into the city by train. Large groups were allegedly planning to carry out a number of crimes, including snatch and grab offences, carjackings, and assaults on members of the public and police officers. Melbourne. This is happening in Melbourne. Last year's Moomba Festival was the scene of similar events, where more than 1,000 youths held a huge street party where a series of violent incidents unfolded in the early hours of the morning. He looks passed out. I hope he's okay and just drunk. In 2017, the streets of Melbourne CBD became the site for youths looking to start a fight, where police arrested more than 50 people as they responded to altercations occurring across the city. Police revealed more than 800 weapon searches were conducted as part of a mass operation. Knives, a taser, knuckle duster were among the weapons that were seized. Last night events have been likened to a festival of police by one witness, a tourist from Sheffield in the United Kingdom. Oh, well, yeah, okay, come on. You can't talk. You can't talk. It's worse than the UK. I don't know if I want to visit Melbourne again. Well, yeah, no, that's fair. You should come to Queensland. Come to Brisbane. Come to Brisbane. It's slower and nicer. I don't think people can be that bothered up here. I can't even count. There's more police here than actual people going to the station. I don't understand what they're doing. Oh, you need to watch for the entertainment. Police are still investigating the incident, and the increased police presence will remain in the city throughout the remainder of the Moomba Festival, which finishes on Monday night. So, I'm just a bit shocked. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Heiser says. Have a look here, and I'll show you my map. I need to update it. I've been a bit slack. If you go on the Freedom map, you can go here, and what we'll do is we'll zoom into Melbourne, and we'll say riots and gang violence. We'll have a look here, and we'll turn on who your federal federal politician is. So if we zoom in, you can see here there's 3. 2016 Moomba gang rampage, verified by 2 news sources. Fed Square gang riot 2016. Here another one, 2017. So I'll have to add the other one to it. Hang on, I'll turn off that there. So guys, if you're not familiar with the map here, I've been adding different things. I've kind of been a bit slack lately with it because I've lost a whole lot of data that I did in a live stream, and I have to put it on there. But say you've got a federal poly, you want to find out who's the one in Melbourne. You click here, and here you go. This is the guy in Melbourne. So maybe write to Mr. Adam Band from the Greens. What are you doing to combat this violence? What's going on? I want to add the local politicians, but, I'll get there. I've also mapped the anti-free speech zones. So it's just on the says.heiser.com, Heiser says website. So guys, you can see that, just of the few examples I've mapped, there are gang violence issues in Melbourne. It's prevalent. And it was kind of swept under the rug in the election. Few people were talking about it. If you even mentioned it, you were labeled, racist, this, that, and the other thing. But there's no, 100 teenagers going to a festival fighting in the middle of the city, regardless of your skin color, isn't right. If it's coming from one culture, one group, one community, then that is something that needs to be addressed. There's either something wrong in that community, or it's probably just, trouble between the two groups and they're fighting. Why are we having this? Guys, let me know what you think. I'm interested to see what will happen next year. I wouldn't be comfortable, frankly, if this was happening in Brisbane. and we had the Eka at a festival here or whatever, you know, I wouldn't be comfortable taking my kids to it. I wouldn't be comfortable my wife going in there. You know, you wouldn't, even if you're not there to cause trouble, you don't want to be someone who just happens to be there and get injured in the process. It's not worth the risk. Not when you've got a family. So, yeah, it's interesting, worrying, and disturbing that it's not really being addressed, is it? It's happening every year, again and again. Guys, thanks for joining me for this episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. Ding the bell to see my daily updates. And I am pushing to get 2 videos a day. I barely didn't do this one tonight because I have been a bit under the weather today. But yeah, it's all been good. I hope you had a relaxing Sunday, and I'll see you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.